right, we're back. You gotta squeeze out this thing. It's pretty tight in there. But here it is, 1942 Ford. I'm gonna flip the camera around so you guys can see it a little bit better and walk you guys through on what we're doing and why we're doing what we're doing. So here we go. This thing is so ugly, it's cute almost. I mean, it's a cool little truck, but it needs some help. I mean, from the outside, it looks really good. Whoever put it together did a really good job, but it's got so many leaf springs and stuff in it in the rear that it rides like crap, and I'll show you guys up underneath of it now. So look how many leaf springs this thing has. I mean, it has a whole pack of leaf springs. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 leaf springs in the rear. This thing is on a RV chassis, so that's part of the reason why it rides so rough, and that's why it has 12 leaf springs there in the rear. But this thing no longer needs to be hauling the weight as it was when it was an RV, when the RV body was on it. So now that it's just got this little pickup truck cab on it, the cab over, and the bed, it does not need to have that stiff a suspension. So we're going to be taking care of that. But it's got a good platform. It's got a 350 Chevy in it, automatic transmission, all 1-ton stuff under it. It's sitting on a GM RV chassis, so it's got 8x6.5 lug patterns under it. It's a good base. It just needs a little help. So that's why we're here. We're going to help this thing out. Definitely get the stance down because it is entirely too high. I mean, this thing looks like it's got a set of high waters on it. I mean, look at this gap between the fenders. I mean, it is huge. So we're going to lower it down. We're not slamming it by no means. We're not putting bags on it. Just a simple remove the leaf springs, maybe put just four leaf springs and an overload on it, and then maybe just cut one coil out. It kind of depends on how low we get the rear. And then also we're going to be putting a set of different fender flares on it, or fenders on it, because when we lower it, it's going to smack these. So I'm going to turn it around and show you guys. So if we lower it to 4 inches or whatever, 4 to 6 inches, it's going to get into this. And not too crazy about these fender flares here, so we're going to put a different style of fender on it, and then also see if we can go ahead and make some kind of running board to kind of finish off the look. But overall, it's a neat old truck. It just needs some help in the suspension. It's a pretty solid old truck. I'm not 100% sure like on the backstory of this truck. I just had a customer drop it off and say, hey, lower this thing and put some different wheels on it. So we're getting rid of these wheels here, and we're going to be putting a set of aluminum wheels on it. I think it's the plan as of right now, if we can find the right wheel for it. But here it is. Like I said, 1942 Ford cab over. Start her up. Now we got the truck in here, let's go ahead and remove these rear fenders. Then after we remove the fenders, we can go ahead and start removing our leaf springs, and that'll allow the rear end to go up. But right now these fenders are in the way, so let's go ahead and move them. I almost forgot I was going to measure this thing before we lowered it to see how much we do lower it. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So the top of the roll pan, we're at 32 1/8. So there's our rear measurement. Let's go to the front and measure the front. Front measurement is going to come in at 27 inches. With the fender and the wheel out of the way, you guys can see how giant this leaf pack here is. we're going to be leaving this one and then leaving these 4 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So we're going to be leaving these here, and then we're going to be taking this overload and putting it back in place. So we're going to keep the overload and 4 leaf springs. That is the plan. So yeah, let's unbolt these U-bolts here. I did notice the U-bolts look like they're a little different size. See, this one here has just a little bit of the end sticking out, where this side here has a 1/2 inch or so. So my plan there is I'll probably, if I can reuse them, fine, but if not, I'll run down to the local truck store and get a custom set of U-bolts built for this thing. No big deal at all. But let's get them removed and see what we're working with. All right, well, the passenger side came right off. The impact buzzing right off, but the driver's side are a lot tighter or seized up. So we're gonna get the breaker bar on there, try to use the breaker bar. If that don't work, we'll grab the torch and we'll liquid wrench it off there if we have to, but we're gonna get it off there one way or the other. All right, with a long struggle, we finally got it. Man, I couldn't budge that thing. It was on there, so we got it though. So let's go ahead and drop the rear end down, pull the leaf springs, and put it back up in there, because I want to see where it sets. And hopefully we don't need different U-bolts, but I guess we'll see. Oh, real quick before we continue on, when I was underneath this thing torching the U-bolts, heating up the U-bolts, I noticed that the shocks aren't even mounted to the top. They're mounted to the axle, but they're not mounted to the frame on either side. Golly. Hey, it came off there. Woo. Okay, wasn't what I was expecting at all. Well, I know we're going to be using 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so those are the ones we're using. We're not using these at all. These things are heavy. We're going to have a race truck when we get done here, losing all this weight. All right, so now we got to figure out which ones went in next. Is that? I guess I could run the other side. That's crazy, those stayed together over there, but this side came apart. That'll really lower it like that. All right, so what I got going on, the pin or the bolt is seized up into the overload. I got the overload separated from the rest of the pack, but I got the overload over here to my drill press, and I'm gonna be drilling the pin out. So the pin is up in here, and I need that pin out of there, so then we can put a new 3/8 bolt or 7/16 grade 8 bolt through there, and that will be our new alignment pin, but I gotta remove this one first. So that's what I'm up to now, and then we'll start adding we'll get the leaf pack built back up with the new bolt, and then we'll be able to align the axle back up to it. I haven't got as far as knowing if we're gonna need U-bolts or not yet. I won't know that until we get the axle back up there. But I might just go ahead and put a set of new U-bolts in it. U-bolts are fairly cheap, so have new hardware, be good to go. So let's drill this out. All right, so I'm headed to Crossroad Truckings here in Bedford, Indiana, and picking up new U-bolts. The U-bolts we got are gonna be, they're too long, and they need more thread up in the shank area of it. So we're gonna stop in here, get some new U-bolts. I'm pulling up now, so I guess I'll let you guys know what I get. That's what I need right there, that giant sleeper. That's what I need, is that patina rust that baby, that trailer and everything. Forgot I can't go all the way forward because I don't have reverse, so I gotta take a hard right when I leave here. All right, back in the shop. Here are our new U-bolts I just picked up from Crossroad Trucking. As you can see, the threads go up. There you go. The threads go up a little bit further. They look great. So thank you to them. It is the next morning, and last night I went to Royal King to get some grade 8 bolts, but I had bolts here, but the bolts I needed to be shorter. So I ran to Royal King, got some bolts, but then I got sidetracked, and I was planning on finishing this last night, but then I got sidetracked and went to a church revival. So I didn't get home till late. I was only going to go for like an hour, and then I ended up being one of the last people to leave. But we're back at it this morning, so let's get this leaf pack back together and see if we can struggle and try to get the leaf packs together, because they're, you know, all different shapes. You got to hold them all up there, but I think I got a way we can get it on there, so let's get on that. I was afraid of that. That is going to be an issue. The dilemma now is the wheels are sticking too far in for the bedside. If I lower this thing down, it's going to take that bedside out. It needs like an 1.5 inch spacer or something. Yeah, that's definitely not gonna work. So I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna do with that. I'm gonna have to get with, we're putting different wheels on it anyway, so maybe we get the right back spacing. It should be fine. I guess next step is finding a set of wheels for this thing, or spacers, or see what the guy wants to do with it, but that is not gonna work at all. All right, so this is what I ended up doing. I ended up pulling the inside dual wheel off until we figure out what wheel we are gonna use. But to get this truck mobile again, just pulled the inside wheel off. Now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the front of the truck, pull the coil springs out, chop a coil out, and then put it all back together and see where we're at and go from there. All right, now that the wheels are off, let's go ahead and see what we get into with taking the upper ball joint and separate it from the knuckle. So once we get the ball joint nut off the bottom there, we'll be able to take a pickle fork and separate the ball joint from the knuckle, drop it. I went ahead and took the sway bar off of it. I figured it'd make it a little bit easier. We might have to remove the steering. I'm not quite sure. Oh, Minnie wants to say hello. Say hello, Minnie. And yeah, and then once we get the coil spring out, we'll kind of have to judge on how many coils we're going to be removing. This truck sits really tall in the front, so possibly 2. We'll probably take out 2 coils. All right, we have our coil out. Wasn't terrible, but it's out. I'm sure it's gonna be a lot easier going in because it's gonna be half the material pretty much. All right, I was gonna take out 2 coils, but then I thought, well, it does set pretty high. I'll take out 3 coils. And then I decided, let's just take out 2.5. So that's what I did. I took out 2.5 coils out of this coil spring, shove it back in. We definitely, I hope I didn't mess up, but we're gonna find out here very, very soon. So let's slide this thing in here and see how low we got it. There you have it. Woo! Oh yeah. It looks way better. I don't think we went down too much at all. I mean, it's got plenty of room to turn. It's got a couple inches, 2-3 inches up on top here. And man, it's setting way better. Way better. And if you look at the top of the bed. See the wood bed sides? And look at actually, we'll get a little closer. Look at the 2x4 on the wall. So the 2x4, don't mind all the mess, but see the 2x4 here? If anything, I mean, it might be raked a little bit in the front, but not much at all. And I'd rather it be raked in the front than raked in the back. Man, that looks so much better. Man, what? Oh, we got to see how much further it dropped in the front. I forgot. I wrote down our measurement. It was 27 inches in the front. So let's measure that and see how far it really did drop it. All right, so we were at 27 inches. Let's see what this thing is now. 21 inches. So that's 6 inches of drop by just removing 2.5 of the coil springs, or the coils on that coil spring. And I think it turned out perfect. I mean, it's got a good stance. It is way shorter. I'm tickled. I think Hannah just got off work. I think I hear her pulling up actually. That thing looks way better. Let's get her reaction of what we got done.
Oh, that looks a lot better.
Yeah.
It's not a rocket ship anymore.
It was tooted up there for a little bit.
Yeah, it was.
I think it looks a lot better. Lowered it 6 inches in the front.
So what are you doing about that?
Trying to get custom wheels made yet.
In or out? You want to raise the bar. Did you show them my clouds?
No, I didn't.
This was my project yesterday. I wanted to just show my clouds. Here we are. It's all different color blue.
Yeah.
And I used our thin cardboard that's not really that thin. But I wanted it to look like, you know, the tavern style. And Corey said we should have went all the way up with the wood, which is fine. And we probably should have. But at least now we had enough to make a door, too, a fake door. So I had to improvise and make clouds in the background.
I think it looks better with the clouds.
I do too.
All right, we're out on the open road with this thing. Well, on a little country road here by my house, and it seems to be doing 100 times better. It definitely helped the ride on this thing. So let's get back to the shop, and I guess this is probably farewell for now until the next video. But yeah, truck seems to be doing good. It looks a lot better, rides a lot better. So all in all, I think it was a success.
All right, guys, that's going to be the end of this video. We appreciate you watching and maybe learning. I don't know. I don't always get to be in the garage with Corey because I do work a lot, so it doesn't always work out that I'm there with him. But I am proud of him. He got this thing looking quite a bit better. Can't wait to see it with wheels and all that stuff. But next week, we actually just got back from Kansas. So next week, we're working on our video for that. We have a truck over here loaded down and truck and trailer, and the trailer over here loaded down. I cannot wait to show you what we got. I think it was more dangerous for me to be there than Corey because he had his mind set on one thing until I am, you know, putting little thoughts in his head about what we can do with some of this stuff. So I cannot wait to show you. But don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe. We really appreciate you guys following along. I'll see you next week. Oh, Wednesday at 6 o'clock next week. Oh, show my eyebrows.
Eyebrow.
It looks like a hooker. Oh, man. They eat better than most humans. Mom already cut up this pork chop for you.
And you wonder why buckwheat looks like a potato.
I only give him meat. Easy. Like feeding a piranha. Minnie's all sweet. Easy.
I broke down, so Jimmy comes to help me. Yeah. I drove the PT Cruiser up here to get a transmission, and it blew a head gasket, so now I was stuck in the north side of Indy. So Jimmy came, got me, and then his fender got into his tire and blew it out. So that is the current status on that. But I did get some cool stuff. Not only did I get a transmission, I got a semi that I'm excited to go back and get. And oh, I got a 12 valve, another 12 valve, because I mean I needed another 12 valve, so I got that. But now we gotta go find us a tire, so we're gonna try to make it to Walmart. I cannot believe the...
Oh my gosh. We're gonna have fun.
Oh, man, this is the coolest. We're coming back here. We're coming back right here.
Is that a short bed? Oh my, this is a cool freaking thing.